So your boy Tyrese Gibson, man, locked up in chains, man,
Whoa.
for back payments for child support.
He's locked up?
Yeah, well, he was locked up, but he was released after that.
Okay.
So it looks like he was $72,000 in the rears for not paying child support. But there's a little bit more to this story. So when you first heard about this, I think a lot of folks came out saying, "Man, Tyrese doesn't have $72,000 to pay." That's not it. So Tyrese believes, right? If the reports are true, he believes that that's too much. So he did pay some money. He has given some money to the mother of his daughter, but not equal to what the court ordered him to do. So because of that, you can't go against a court order and decide you're going to pay what you want to pay. Therefore, he was in violation of that. So to give a little bit of background how this works, and this is generally the argument that I've heard in relation to how it is. If your payments are essentially based off of your income. So when you have an individual that is a high earner and your percentage of that for child support is in that, say, 17 to 23%, depending on what state, city that you live in, you can see how that money can add up pretty quickly if you are someone that generates a lot of money. What happens is the defendant, right, because this is the state suing the person, that defendant essentially says, listen, school clothes, food for a little child costs blank. You don't need all those zeros in that check that I'm sending. You can do that for blank.
Right.
Why am I having to pay all of this extra money, right? But you and I both know is going to the parent, mother or father, but not to the child.
Right.
And so that's where you get the pushback from a lot of individuals going through that. And so that was the case with Tyrese.
Okay.
So when I ask you, what's your opinion? I know that was kind of a long lead, but what's your opinion on this? One, Tyrese getting locked up, but the bigger story behind how that process is for the money that he has to pay.
And let me just make sure I have this correct. This is on child support?
Yes.
Not spousal.
It's child support.
Okay. Listen, man, that's a great question, Quay. And I can tell you one thing. I have a big problem with this whole legal system and this child support thing. I have a big problem, probably a bigger problem with the spousal support. But I also have a big problem on how the whole legal system works with the child support. And I wish there was a way that I could support. But let me just get this straight for everybody. Every father should 100% support their child, whether they're with the mother or they're not. And they should support them 100% and give their child everything they need, right? So let's just put that out there. I just wish there was another way that I could support my child. Say if I had a child with a woman and we weren't together anymore, I wish there was a way that I could get my money to my child without putting it into her hands first, right? Because I know that every time, and I've had friends who've been in this situation where they want to support their child 100% and do everything they need to do for their child, but they have to give it to the mother somehow, and it has to go through her hands, and then she's taking that money and she's doing God knows what with it, right? Getting her hair did, probably taking out her new man to dinner, doing all this kind of shit that we don't know. And guess what? The money that I'm giving her is not going to my child anymore. It's getting her hair done. It's going on vacations. It's taking her man out to dinner, buying him a car. I don't know what she's doing with it. So I have a big problem with how it's being done. And I wish there was some kind of way. After all these years, you would think, Kay, that they would come up with a better way that they can legally do it where they can make sure that I get my child, the money that they deserve and an equal, a fair percentage based on my salary, right? So I guess what you're saying is the money that he's making, he didn't give the child enough money? Is that what you're saying?
Well, per the court.
Per the court.
Per the
Right.
courts, that based off of, generally it's based off your income. So
Right.
the idea behind that is if that child, say, lived with you,
Right.
they would also be afforded a certain lifestyle, right? So
If they lived with me.
if they lived with you, they would be afforded a different lifestyle. Even though that child is no longer with you, they should still be able to benefit from that lifestyle, which then becomes the percentage of what your earnings are.
Well, let the child live with me then, because I want my child. But the courts always, unless the father, unless the mother, let's put it this way, is a crackhead or a prostitute or something crazy, right? The children always go to the mother. And I think it is so unfair because I feel like the legal system automatically thinks just because you're a woman or you're the mother that you're a better parent. And to me, that's another thing that I just feel is so unfair because that does not have to be the case. It really does not. So listen, yeah, I want my child to live with me because guess what? If I have the child living with me, and then I will give them all. I will take them. I will buy them clothes. I will pay their school. I will do everything for them. And and it's better that way because I don't have to give my money to the mother, right? I will spend all the money. I will take care of my child to the best of my ability, which would be phenomenal. But the legal system does not allow that because us as fathers, when we're not with the mothers, we are treated so unfairly, and I hate it. I just really do.
Well, Jay, you're not alone. Listen, there's a book I read recently, and forgive me because I would love to give. I'm drawing a complete blank. The name and the author. I'm drawing a complete blank. But I would love to give the author a shout out. But there were tons of stories in there, and the book provided testimonials of men saying very similar things.
Yeah.
But then also what the states did. By what the states did to them in terms of suspending the driver's license, so they couldn't drive. Some of these people couldn't earn a living, they couldn't get to work, or they couldn't drive. They couldn't. They were put in jail. They lost their right to vote. Any number of things, right? That they're saying, listen, if I murdered my kid, God forbid, I wouldn't be going through this, right?
Right.
Like I'm literally more of a pariah for not being able to pay this versus had I did something detrimental to my child. So there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of folks that argue against that. And it looks like Tyrese is one of those folks. Interesting enough, so what also came out was the internet. So they came out with their
going after him?
Well, no, not in this case, not just him, but they went after his baby mama. Because his baby mama, I don't know if you know this, is Samantha Lee. Now, Samantha Lee is all over the internet with giving her 5 ways to keep a man, 5 ways to this, 10 ways to that. You and I, believe it or not, you and I have seen some of these things, so they'll pop up in our feeds because I know this because you and I have talked about it.
Yeah.
But you probably didn't know that was his baby mother.
I did not know.
Right. So Samantha Lee is the woman that he had the daughter with. And she's an influencer, and she's so.
Wait, Samantha Lee?
Yeah.
Is she one of the women that we watch all the time?
I wouldn't say watch all the time, but yeah, she pops up in my feed. I don't know what the hell listen. I'm politics and sports.
Yeah.
Somehow I get all of this.
Right.
Relationship stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look her up. Okay,
right, but she definitely does pop up in our feeds and stuff. So the internet came after her, was clowning her, had a whole bunch of stuff to say about her because essentially, she's on all over Instagram telling other women how to keep her man, how to identify a good man.
Okay.
And yet people were saying, listen, you trying to tell people, but you got a deadbeat man, right? Internet's words, not mine, Tyrese, but but you couldn't keep him, and 2, you couldn't identify whether or not he was going to be a good one. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well too.
I listen, Tyrese, he's clearly not a deadbeat. You know, if let's there might be some men who have a problem paying whatever amount that the court is requiring them to pay, and just because they may not be able to make that payment doesn't mean that they are a deadbeat dad, right? It's just they just couldn't make the payment, right? And people are assuming a lot of these celebrities have all this money. Maybe they do, maybe some of them don't, but I do believe that a lot of these the amount of money that they ask some of these celebrity fathers to pay, I think it's a little bit ridiculous, you know. And I know you're saying they base it off of salary or whatever, but I mean, is a celebrity's salary, I mean, you might have a set salary for the year. I may have a set salary, but these celebrities, do they have a set salary? Probably not, right? But they're just assuming, oh, well, you're a celebrity, so you're super rich, so you should be able to pay this enormous amount of money. You can't really say that. So I think any father like Tyrese, like Nick Cannon, like any of the people who are trying their very best to be in their children's life, right, and giving them as much money as they possibly can, I think that's a great thing. I think that they're doing their job, and I think they should be commended on it. And I think too many times in this day and age that people look down on fathers who are not giving enough money to their baby mama, because I ain't giving it to my child. I'm giving it to my baby mama that is doing God knows what with it. And I think it's ridiculous. I hate it.
Right. Yeah, no. The last thing I'll just say, you got me wondering how many times that you've gone out with a woman and she's used his money to take you out, since you're a 50-50 guy. Right?
Oh, most definitely. And I thank you. I'm a 50-50 guy. You know how many women taking me out with? No, well, women don't take me out.
I mean, they're paying, right, with that money.
Oh, you mean that 50%?
Right.
They're using the baby daddy money.
Right. Using the baby daddy money when they go out with Jay.
Yeah, and then at a damn shame, use your own money. You don't use his money.
Right. Oh, my God.
Probably happens a lot. You're
Indeed.
Right.